Well, for game number 2, we'll head into picks and bans. Valance Squadron need to change some things. I don't think the Hebo by itself was of the wrong choice. I kind of liked what Valance Squad was going for, and more importantly, I like the mentality of the I like how Valance Squad would identify the fact that, look, nobody's coming to that dual lane. Why does it have to be a hunter? We can change that mentality, look for the burst damage out of a mage. Didn't work out.
It just felt like there was a lack of damage early on from Valance. I like the mentality behind the Neith, Naja, and the Habwa. It really is a combination that can be very potent when executed. But for Valance, I'd like to just see Funballer a little bit more traditional of a physical hunter, something that he can play super aggressive with.
Sure. I mean, I don't even mind the Habwa. I think he can play super aggressive. I think you just can't let the game get out of hand the way it did. Faeles, whether it's not identifying that it's his fault exclusively, but that jungle needs to be able to have a larger impact, whether that means more help from the team. He just needs to be more proactive. If you're going to have Funball on that late game character, you got to actually get there. And that was the problem. It was 3.5 items in. Funball's not able to actually have that impact. So got to sort of speed that one up or protect it while it lasts longer. Ban's now done. Arlong, Shen, and RDO banned out by Vac, and 2 assassins banned out by Dig.
I actually like this mentality behind Dignitas, knowing that they're probably not going to want to run the same thing back twice, look for something else, and it's going to be the Muzen Cobb, which I didn't say is going to be headed for Zyrhoes, but you never really know. That could for sure be an Arkkyl pick. But what I'd really like to see out of Valance that we haven't really gotten to see in a little bit is maybe a Hunbot selection from Faeles. I think one of the best ways for a team to try and fight against Dignitas, because of how much cohesion that unit seems to have whenever they're playing together, have a god that just disorients everything, causing chaos.
Yeah, that works out. Yeah, Faeles would definitely excel on the Hunbots. We've seen him do it once before. Can certainly do it again. I mean, the Cobb to the clear, to the burst. Nice character here for Team Dignitas. Osiris across the way. Going to be the solo laner of choice for Valance Squadron, most likely. And with Fafnir selected, he will definitely be the support.
And yeah, no questions asked about that Fafnir. I actually really like this choice by BigManTingz. Taking that away, it's more important to strip that god away from Trixtank than the other way around. I think that's the main priority here. And with Chronos also being locked in for Team Dignitas, it really is either or as far as whether it's going to be mid or ADC.
The Ravana, however, QvoFred has looked really fresh on this Ravana through and through. Sure, he might wind up back in that solo lane, but I expect this to be QvoFred, even though we haven't seen the jungle Ravana really as much as his heyday was a couple of months ago.
Considering that Dignitas opted to ban out the Nemesis, that wouldn't surprise me if it were to be a jungle pit god. But on top of that, I also wouldn't be surprised to see Dignitas just elect for 2 more pretty frontline heavy gods, because they can get away with it, whether it's a guardian or a warrior. There's really... It'll be difficult counterplay without that Nemesis available for Valance.
Well, Dignitas going to focus on hunters here as Hoyi banned out, and looks like Valance Squad going to look towards that front line like you were talking about. Both Sobek and Bologna banned out here by Valance Squadron. Final ban of the game coming from Team Dignitas here, and they're going to again focus on the hunter. No to the Jingwei. We saw Arkkyl play her last time around, just in case it gave Funball any ideas. Dignitas doesn't want to see that one come out. Instead, it'll be the Susano choice for Faeles in the jungle. Again, looking to Faeles to sort of be that guy that walks through the middle of the game, just kind of keep up the pace. And
there's already the response by Dignitas for their support. It's going to be the Sylvanus. So whether it's Sylvanus and Chronos or Sylvanus and the Muzen Cobb, either way, that's some insane clear.
Tier. This is so important. We saw Variety have a decent impact in the last game, and that was a lower impact game than we're used to seeing out of Variety on the tier, and he still did work. So very scary stuff. Valance Squad, however, going to put Anhur in the hands of the Hunter player. Anhur is, when you pick out the Anhur and you give it to your Hunter, it's sort of saying, I trust you to win this game.
For Anhur, he isn't the most favored Hunter, and that reason being, he doesn't exactly have the super late game that you would ideally want from an ADC, especially when you're comparing him to either the Chronos or the AMC, and he is going to be facing off against the Chronos. So Arkkyl actually with a little bit of vulnerability early on, and that's really what you're looking for out of Funballer. He's looking to just come out swinging from the very start of the game, although having Trixtank on that Sylvanus is going to strongly deter this from happening.
What is this thought process here? Okay, never mind. He's leaving base. I thought he was going to stick it home, and we've seen a couple of strategies where the players needed to get like 50 or 100 extra gold. Not going to be the case here. Ducky and QvoFred meeting up in the jungle, and QvoFred getting the short end of the stick with all the slows that Ducky has available to him, but Qvo able to dance out of the way. So you were talking a little bit about Funball's Anhur choice. Not exactly the late game super carry that we're used to seeing on hunters, but still can certainly swing a big stick. Mid game though, Anhur becomes very scary.
Mid-game, depending on how your early game goes, though, you have to rely on Funballer to not have any early deaths. He really just wants to, if anything, get the early kills, and that's what Anhur can do best. He just has so much pressure, probably the hardest-hitting ADC, I believe, still at the start of a game, especially with that red buff in tow. So with that in mind, Dignitas are going to have to be careful.
Ducky and Variety both low. Both sides, excuse me, on the solo lane as everybody starts to get aggressive here. Going to be in some trouble. But it looks like a more traditional start coming out from Valance Squadron. Their hunter and their support going for the buffs, starting out in their own lane. Sylvanus shows up and quickly realizes, wait, there's an Anhur here as well. Funball's looking to fight. This is what the Anhur selection says. I want to beat you up.
He kind of just had to sit back and take it in that first game on the Habwa. And like we mentioned, even though we had no gripes whatsoever with the pick, Funballer, he loves being aggressive. He's aggressive by nature as a hunter player. And with that in mind, what better way to let him try and get ahead than to just put him on the Anhur?
Yeah, Anhur's going to be able to steal one of the two little guys. The other one going to, looks like Team Dignitas. Now starting the fight. Lawbster coming around the left side. Trixtank here as well. Both teams willing to go in there. Trixtank jumped up, knocked up, put down the Impale. That's how Anhur plays. Up close and personal. First blood for Valance Squad.
Just absolutely great hammer stun by BigManTingz. That purple buff is going to go the way of Valance as well, even though Arkkyl tried to contest. And meanwhile, in the solo lane, Faeles finding the kill onto QvoFred alongside Ducky. Already 2 kills in 2 opposite lanes. That's massive map control for Valance.
I mean, when you're picking the Anhur, when you're picking Susano, this is what you want. You want early and often kills. So everything's coming up Millhouse for Valance Squad, although it is very early here. Oh, the pillar. Funball a little bit quicker. Honestly, pillar and pale on Zyrhoes. He has beads, so he gets out of there. But, I mean, a pillar stun on a Muzen cob, it's a dead beat.
He's usually toast, especially in the earlier stages, and there's 3 members so quick to follow up. Speaking of which, Faeles actually looking to pull Zyrhoes back in. Unfortunately, just not enough damage yet to take out the B, but Zyrhoes also has that speed buff wrapped around him, so that's also going to make targeting him early a little bit more difficult.
I like how Faeles did that. I don't know if he aimed or missed, but he shoots the teleport location behind into the wave, so he's able to go ahead, annoy the target, teleport to it, then pull him right back into the lane. Fortunately, no kill for Valance Squadron right there. Riding, trying to deal with Ducky, but just by not dealing with anything at all, playing it relatively safe. Sprint pop left side. Again, the aggression. Trixtank takes all of the ultimate from Funball, but not enough crowd control to keep the tree in place. And so Funball used the ultimate, brings support down to 40%, and Trixtank will slowly heal it up.
A little bit too preemptive by Funballer there, launching that Impale kind of early, not having a pillar stun to try and bank it off of. Trixtank had just enough health because he was receiving that regen from his second ability, and so with those wisps, able to survive.
Arkkyl's going to get out of trouble as well, as Valance Squad still tries to push their aggression here time and time again. And that's what you have to expect, sure. That's what you got to do as the Anhur. This is what you do. You fight and you fight and you fight. If you're not fighting, it's almost as if you're wasting the Anhur pick between his kit and how well he can handle it. I mean, it just makes sense. I
mean, already off of the aggression that Funballer has established in the dual lane side, it's given Valance control of Dignitas' purple buff since they now have that timer and can maybe even look to freely invade. It'll be on top of QvoFred whether or not he wants to try and help his team defend or contest that buff. But also, a Funballer having that early kill means that he can build those boots, be a slight level advantage ahead of Arkkyl, and that's probably more important than anything else because against a Chronos can buy all the time in the world, no pun intended, And realistically speaking, Funballer has to attack Arkkyl early game, or else he's not going to have any opportunities to do so in the late.
Yeah, the boots picked up by Funballer, as you said here. Can we expect the Devo gloves to come up next time when Anhur has a little bit more gold, or while Variety in trouble dashes away? The ultimate just barely. Bluestone, not going to be enough. Variety able to go back home. My question to you about Funball's build, is it going to be the Devo gloves or something ability-based?
I would expect it to be the Devourer's Gauntlet because it's the best item. Magical carries are really best dealt with when you have lifesteal in your favor, and so with that in mind, Funballer will most likely elect for that. But the main reason why we see him opting for the boots first as opposed to just the initial Devourer's Gauntlet rush that we're used to is because as an Anhur, you need to keep that aggression going, and Chronos is going to have way too much mobility and escapability if you allow him to do so by opting for the more passive item, which is the stacking.
There's a nice pull one more time. Variety the focus. This time he gets dove. The ultimate over the top coming from Ducky. Faeles combines with the solo laner, and Ducky takes home the kill. Right side, 3-zip. Valance Squad.
And immediately, Valance already putting so much more pressure onto Variety in that duo lane. That's kind of just what Susano is allowing Faeles to do. I love how Faeles is executing this, recognizing that that's going to be his lane priority as far as keeping Variety down.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened last time with the tier. And that was, like I said, a lower impact game for Variety. And he certainly did a lot of work, especially come the late game with those fearlesses. So keep Variety down, keep him dead early and often, and you might be able to handle him a little bit later on. But still, level 7 on Variety, still staying competitive, though he might be down a little bit from Ducky. Trixtank the target now is slowed to oblivion. The knockup, ton of damage coming out. The knockup does two things, takes care of Trixtank, but also controls Variety on the front end. Variety can't do anything but watch.
Trixtank just trying to drop a ward as well. I think that's the only reason why we saw him even walking down that jungle pathway from Valance. He just wanted to ward a little bit for Variety, recognizing how heavily his soul lane is being pressured, but even just showing face cost him his life.
Yeah, rough stuff coming out, but this is what Valance Squadron is capable of. You know, we keep saying it week in, week out. The squad is good on paper. Why aren't they able to execute? I still can't answer that question, but I can tell you that they're able to execute occasionally. And I mean, watching this, already up 1,500 plus here, 7.5 minutes. This is kind of scary.
Don't think there is any right or wrong answer to that question. It's sort of just one of those things where only time will tell what's going to happen with Valance Squad. And so far, so good in game number 2. They've managed to establish a little bit more than a 1.7k lead, I'd say. So that's still pretty fair for this early on.
At the same time, this is when they're supposed to succeed. They have a Susano and an Anhur, right? Trixtank pops the ultimate defensively. The ultimate from Anhur and Lawbster, just barely. Not going to be enough. QvoFred gets stunned out, but no capitalization coming out from Valance Squad. This is the time when they're supposed to be dominant. They have an Anhur. They have Faeles. Even Ducky. Late game, when there's a Chronos and a tier to worry about, we'll see how Valance Squadron fares then. But right now, everything is working as it should be.
It is going to be interesting to see how exactly Valance chooses to handle that. And it's also going to be crucial whether or not they're going to be able to prevent that from happening. Ideally, they want to be looking to close out this game in the same time frame as their first match ended against them, around the 25-26 minute mark. Allowing it to go any longer than that is really dangerous territory.
Yeah, I mean, even the Muzen Cobb come the late game becomes a really thorn in your side. So Valance Squad have to, be proactive early and look to close this game out before their opposition can really grow into something that's truly something to be afraid of.
Right now, it's really also just been all eyes on top of Trixtank, probably the most immobile member of Dignitas. Doesn't have that extra little mobility that's granted to Zyrhoes, for instance, off of the Hives. And with that in mind, I think that Valance have been choosing their targets correctly by targeting Trixtank.
Trixtank just kind of puts himself out of position recently. I think it's more just the opportunity. It's like, hey, here's a big tree. I guess we'll kill the support. But, Valance Squad, if they did want to go out of their way to choose somebody, I think we might see some more attention onto Zyrhoes. But Trixtank just keeps presenting himself, so I think we'll take it.
Well, Trixtank hanging around the B in the mid lane. Bees and trees seem to go hand in hand, so not too surprised right there.
Yeah, look at that one. You can rhyme. I like that.
It's just two of a kind. It really is pretty interesting, though, that Dignitas are trying to really push with the Muzen Cobb as far, because it's just become so prevalent in EU meta, I would say.
I like this jump over the wall coming out from BigManTingz. Going to avoid the stun out of Trixtank. Now focus on the Faeles in response. And Dignitas with a nice little bite back. No kills, but definitely a nice little deterrent by way of damage onto the jungler.
And that was a lot of damage, actually, on top of Faeles, who probably wasn't anticipating eating that much. Thought that maybe he could output a little bit more on top of Trixtank, but... Yeah. That Sylvanus ultimate actually came up pretty well for him, not only cleansing him because of the CC immunity, but just preventing any sort of follow-up from Valance.
Yeah, I think the CC immunity was the key there, right? If Trixtank gets stunned out again, he's just dead. This is why Sylvanus has definitely seen a decline in choices in the Pro League. He's just so susceptible to being controlled. Meanwhile, right side, a little bit of control being dealt onto Robin. QvoFred followed up, but Ducky will miss. Now it's Variety. Big chunk! And that'll confirm the ultimate out of tier. Big open space. Portal Demon could be the target. It will be, but Zyrhoes and Trixtank ready to dance.
And Zyrhoes actually able to deal a decent bit of damage himself, already getting focused out by Funballer, but it's going to be Trixtank who eats that impale for his mid laner. Still, 5 members from Valance already grouped around this Portal Demon. Arkkyl trying to make his way over to respond, but he's going to get stunned out and killed immediately.
Look at the accuracy coming out from Funball. Almost all of those spears hit, if not all of them. Looked like at least 9 out of 10. Portal Demon going to be stopped by Team Dignitas. That's a nice play coming out from the black and yellow, but they do trade their Chronos Hunter for it. A little bit rough there, Taco. Valance Squad still up 2K, despite the fact that they didn't get the objective.
That's the stun setup you want to see, though, from your Anhur. The immediate pillar impale and the grab-in by Faeles as well. The way that Valance grouped around that Portal Demon, leaving Faeles on the opposite end from the other 4 members, meant that Dignitas were going to have all their focus on top of that Portal Demon with 4 people.
Yeah, and that was it was just nice positioning coming out from Valance Squad. Like, really solid positioning. That's how you want to take that fight with this composition almost every time.
It's been very clean gameplay so far from Valance, and if anything, Dignitas are doing their best to try and respond. I like the mentality to try and face check, and for Chronos, you would expect that to be a relatively safe situation because you have your ultimate, you have typically your actives. The beads didn't even make a difference there.
No, just not enough time. All of the damage came out way too quick. Forget about getting out of trouble. Forget about rewinding. You're just dead. Nice collapse and quick thinking coming out from Valance Squad to really confirm that one. So now Valance Squad left side. They have a little bit of pressure, but they're going to look elsewhere. 50 stacks on those lifesteal gloves. Looks like Funball's going to start up the Gold Fury, or at least head up with his teammates. I thought we might see the Gold Fury bait with the Lifesteal Hunter.
Oh, that's exactly what he's got in mind. And the only thing to keep in mind is that those oracles are in favor of Dignitas. So Dignitas know that this is happening, but Valance, they just want the fight. They want the bait. Already getting a stun out onto Trixtank, but he's not deep enough inside the jungle for Valance to feel confident in locking him down.
Exactly. I mean, that's the problem, is that, sure, Zyrhoes on this Muzen Cobb is fantastic, and I want to see Valance Squad actually just hard commit to the objective because they have Thoth by way of, they have objective secure by way of Thoth. If you look across the way and you see Valance Squad going to pick up one more time, Zyrhoes is here. He's got beads, but man's not Thoth. He does not have the ability to control this objective the way that Valance Squad does. They have to look for the fight instead. Trixtank already dead. Lawbster, the big man on campus, taking down Trixtank. Variety shoving Ducky into the wall, not able to put him down by himself. Has to flip backwards. Meanwhile, Valance Squad still with control. QvoFred drops the thorns, but low and have to walk away is VAC.
That final judgment, though, that just came flying out from Lawbster is really what causes Dignitas to disperse in that one. Don't believe that anybody actually got hit by that, because it seemed as though Variety had just jumped over with his own ultimate to get away, but It's still, I would say that's in favor of Valance. They're able to find the pick. Nobody from Dignitas was healthy enough at the time to feel comfortable trying to secure the Gold Fury in response. So immediately working out pretty well for Valance. And again, this might be the time period where they're supposed to prosper, but they're doing a little bit more than that.
Sure, I'll give you that, but that was absolutely a win for Team Dignitas. I mean, they lose Trixtank. Trixtank is the only one they lose, though, eh?
Well, the thing is, even with only losing Trixtank in that fight, they still weren't healthy enough to try and take the Gold Fury.
But
Valance,
they kept
I think,
back off of the gold.
But they expended a lot to do so, and the only reason why as many ultimates were expended from Valance is because they were just looking for the team fight afterwards.
Sure. QvoFred still here. Valance Squad able to pick up the Oracle Vision by the Gold Fury. Easy peasy. I still think that, Valance Squad, they needed to win a little bit more there. They needed to find those kills. They got poked out, and Team Dignitas now letting everybody know, that, hey, man, we're down, but we can certainly swing. You've been pushing down our Sylvanus, who's still just one level down, still competitive. You haven't done anything to the carries. Chronos died once. Zyrhoes died once.
This is what I want to see, the Valance immediately not hesitating again, looking to try and lock down the Gold Fury, but it's going to be Zyrhoes actually the primary target, actually getting completely destroyed by Funballer.
Target acquired, target desired, target retired. Just all eyes on Zyrhoes. Over the wall, committing with the jump. Valance Squad know who the carry is. That's what I'm talking about. Killing Trixtank over and over again to keep him within a level of the enemy support. Not good enough. You gotta find somebody that is going to have a relevant impact on the game. Keep Arkkyl down, keep Zyrhoes down. With Zyrhoes down, you can look for the Gold Fury one more time. Make Arkkyl say hello, and then make him say goodbye. This is the move that Valance Squad needs to do. They have the ball in their hands. Play like it.
But without that final judgment being available from Lawbster, Valance still a little hesitant to go on this Gold Fury, although Funballer's pulled it right back up with BigManTingz by his side. QvoFred and Arkkyl are going to look to contest. Lawbster still having very strong secure for this objective.
I don't understand. Valance Squad need to commit to something, either the fight or the objective. Trixtank and Qvo laughing their way to the bank. You don't want to commit, we'll commit. They're going to force Valance Squad here to take something. Variety on the back end, able to blink shortly, look for Ducky instead. Zyrhoes respawned, now ready to fight one more time, which is why we see Dignitas go back into it. QvoFred still relatively low, down. He's going to be forced on out. Valance Squad need to play like they have the lead. They have the upper hand here, Taco, and they're still walking away with the tail between their legs. One more time, picking up the Gold Fury.
This is their time to secure the Gold Fury, though the final judgment is available once more, and it will come through. That's going to be Valance Squad's Gold Fury. Faeles being the only victim to fall so far from Variety. Actually, I take that back. Trixtank actually found death for himself again as well.
Sure. Fine. I am...
They needed to wait for the final judgment once, because Lawbster dropped that final judgment, and that's all that Valance were waiting for. They were pulling the Gold Fury, waiting for the fight.
Even with the final judgment down, Hieroglyphic Assault is going to do more on average than the Time Rift.
You have to keep in mind, though, Chronos has that 3-1 combination. If Lawbster gets caught out by the stun for even a split second, that's all it takes for Chronos to be able to 50-50 that objective.
Sure, but somebody can take care of the Chronos.
But who?
Anyone?
They can't zone out the Chronos. They couldn't afford to try and zone out Arkkyl on this Chronos when they had already used so much in that previous team fight in order to take out Zyrhoes.
You know what? Better safe than sorry, I will say. If we had... I would have been... So I'm kind of just, making a mountain out of a molehill here. I understand that they were waiting for the ultimate of the Lawbster. If they had still waited after Lawbster got his ultimate, that's when I would have really been mad.
I think we all would have raged at that one, though.
Y'all would have actually heard me rage. Portal Demon going to be leashed up here. We're used to seeing Valance Squad leash it out. No big deal.
That is the primary difference between these two teams, though, is just objectives aren't anywhere near as 50-50 if Lawbster is available with his ultimate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he just has the upper hand. I said it before. Zyrhoes cannot compete with... That is Thoth when it comes to the ability to just confirm. I mean, even Arkkyl with the time slow rift, you're still not going to be able to compete with the giant, big mage bang ultimate. That's the word I'm looking for.
And Ducky now just trading out a little bit of poke there with Variety, catching him with the tether stun. But
Variety heals it all the way back up.
Fun with Variety's tier.
Zyrhoes gets his beads chased out and still committed on. Able to turn around and return some of that damage, but not enough. QvoFred from the top trying to distract against his mid laner. Lawbster has to activate the Aegis, and Funballer here to distract against his own mid laner.
And Funballer actually in a little bit of trouble now. Trixtank committing the Blink ultimate on top of him, but on the backside, Variety's actually right on top of Faeles, actually looking to chase him down as Funballer cleans up Trixtank.
It's the carries driving the carries, and everybody trying. They're on opposite sides of the fight here. Arkkyl able to take care of Ducky, but Lawbster finishes off Variety. It's Arkkyl all the way down here. Lawbster jukes out the rift, and because of it, he's able to take down Arkkyl. 4 players go down in 2 separate team fights on Team Dignitas' side. Ducky, the only one to throw his life away, but it was for good reason. 12 for Valance Squad, 2 in total for Team Dignitas. Portal Demon gonna go down here. Fire Giant should be next, but the team is relatively low. Can Funball do this by himself, or at least start it when the team backs and comes back?
No questions asked. He can definitely start it with Variety and Arkkyl still not spawning. By the time they spawn, this Fire Giant's probably going to already be destroyed by Valance, and this is just huge.
Yeah, that was a giant play. Wonderful, and that was so impressive by Valance Squad for 2 reasons. For 2 reasons for me. One, they split up their team fight against Team Dignitas. Team Dignitas have 5 of the most individually talented players in the world. This is not a team that you want to play the separate, divide, and conquer type strategy against, because a lot of times you try to find that Achilles heel on the squad. All 5 of these dudes are tier 1 all-stars. Valance Squad totally fine to take the smaller fights, and then they execute it in 2 separate ways. Comms, just very impressed with what Valance Squad has been able to do here in game number 2.
Dignitas, though, not willing to let everything go just yet, trying to defend on their own T2 towers, and this is just going to buy them as much time as possible if they don't lose the team fight that's going to probably be ensuing shortly.
Yeah, this is Valance Squad getting ready for it. Half HP on the tower already. Not even, maybe about 60%, if I'm a little less generous. But Valance Squad now waiting. Minion wave all the way up the lane, slowly creeping on down.
Still got to give proper shout-outs to Lawbster, though, for that juke.
Yeah, that juke up top.
That was just, that was so Lawbster.
I still rate Lawbster as one of the best, and people ask me all the time, why do you consider Lawbster that good? That's the reason why. He always has that available. Minions filtering in here. Valance Squad could make their move instead of Trixtank making the first move, coming up top, looking for the ultimate, but he's destroyed or deleted or denied, whichever one you want to choose. It happened that fast. QvoFred's gonna happen next, and everybody collapsing. Yo, Arkkyl, where'd you go? Back to base. Valance Squad looking hot, boys. 15 to 2.
Funballer did not even care about getting pulled in by Trixtank, just immediately starts aggressing on top of him instead. His health was destroyed, much like this Phoenix is getting, and now Valance already. Dignitas tried to defend that T2, and they got the Brennan stick for it.
Look at Funball. The teams are treating Funball's like, I'm going to beat up Variety real quick. And I bet that's what he said. I'm going to beat up Variety real quick. Funball and these guys, Valance Squad is a team that's easy to root for because they're a lot of fun. You see them always having fun on Twitter, even when they lose. But it's been hard to root for them, Taco, because they just haven't been finding the wins. Here against Team Dignitas, they look like a different squad, up over 10,000 gold here in 23 minutes. Like we discussed, this is kind of where they have to be. They have to look to finish this game up relatively soon. Otherwise, Arkyl's going to get really out of control, likewise with Zyrhoes. But my question to you is this a fluke, or is this how good this squad is and it just took them too long?
This is actually just how talented this team really is. They're able to go and take Dignitas immediately after getting slaughtered by Dignitas in game number 1. Just the immediate bounce back, cleaning up their draft, cleaning up their execution, more importantly, of their draft. In the previous game, that draft was fine. The execution, not so much. This game, same story. Solid draft and even better execution. And
again, it's sort of, this match looked like, all right, we're just going to trust everybody to do their thing. Funball is just doing it on the Anhur. Lawbster's just doing it on the mid lane. Faeles just doing it in the jungle as well. I mean, being able to keep Team Dignitas to 2 kills. Now, it's one thing if everyone's just farming and running away. But we've seen team fight after team fight after team fight. Having a spread of 13 kills against Team Dignitas is a huge thing to brag about.
Not even letting Arkkyl get his own bat camps. Funballer already showing up to contest. Dignitas having second thoughts about trying to defend these T2s after how that went down in right lane. Variety at the front of the pack. Still, doesn't want to go anywhere near Valance.
Funball's a growing boy. He got to keep eating. Not going to let Arkkyl get that. No way. No way, no how. Got to keep eating. Funball, the rest of the squad grouping up Valance. Left side now. What are you giggling at?
Funballer ate his vegetables because he kept montaging Trixtank.
He just eat.
That's why.
It's
the cheesiest joke in the world, but it's so true right now.
Hanging out with aggro lately?
Oh, God, too much.
Funball eating up the trees. Eating up the rest of the world, though. Look at this. Variety tried to find the flank, but everybody found him instead. Funball with the cheeky kill secure there. Just.
That retreat. Immediate retreat from Dignitas. But in the time period that it took for Variety to be killed, Dignitas couldn't even respond. That is how quickly he vanished.
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking characters with Blink couldn't even handle it. Now Arkkyl jumped on and destroyed. Where's the ultimate, buddy? Not available. Number 17, number 18 as Ducky takes care of Trixtank as well. 3 players down for the count in Team Dignitas jerseys. It's all up to QvoFred and Zyrhoes to play defense. The left side Phoenix in trouble, finally goes down. The guys on Valance Squad, a little bit hurt after that team fight. Not sure if they're just going to march on in there against a level 17 AMC. A couple of people thinking about going to the mid lane. Instead, it's going to be a full retreat. Fire Giant is up one more time. Valance Squad, again, eyes on the clock here, folks. Perhaps more importantly, eyes on the level and the itemization of the mid laner and the hunter on the side of Team Dignitas. Valance Squad are playing against the clock, maybe not the literal time clock, but they're playing against how long can they go without Arkkyl and Zyrhoes going nuts.
And that's the problem so far, is that they banked a lot on Zyrhoes and Arkkyl kind of just being able to farm efficiently like we've been seeing from most teams that opt for an AMC and a Chronos. It's just Arkkyl and Zyrhoes never had that opportunity. No. Funballer and the entirety of Valance was actually just all over these two. As soon as they established a little bit of a lead, Valance never really let up the pressure, continuing the onslaught of Trixtank, really just funneled into Valance pulling more and more ahead. And eventually, that just means Arkyl's not going to have time for rewinds. Funballer, he's got the Aussie and the Devourer's Gauntlets and a Poison Star. Poison Star just for the slows. That's the main reason. Crit's great because you also have that little bit of burst potential against the entirety of Dignitas, but the shreds all coming out of that Executioner and Chin Size.
Yeah, they did a great job, they being Valance Squad, in the early and mid game, taking care of Trixtank. Now, Trixtank was just sort of out of position a couple of times, but they took advantage of it. 3 or 4 kills before they even looked at the carries. Trixtank on the Sylvanus, he wants to blink and engage. By keeping him down early and often, what this means is that Team Dignitas' way of starting fights is neutered. Because then he blinks, he ults, and he dies. And there's nothing else he could do. As the Sylvanus, when you're even or ahead, it's no big deal. You blink, you ult, and then you just sort of Sylvanus around. You heal stuff, Lotus Crown, and everybody's happy. But by keeping him under the thumb here, he's not able to build the itemization. He's just a little bit, dead. And then all of a sudden it's a 5-on-4, and Valance Squad then water falls into the rest of the team fight. Mid-game, they pay attention to Arkkyl, Zyrhoes to a certain extent, and now late game, here they are, 28 minutes in, and they're able to isolate Variety by himself, push him out. And now the right side, Phoenix is relinquished, or not even looked at, rather. Instead, it's the mid lane Valance Squad going to shift over to.
Knowing that Variety's already taken out of the fight, but Trixtank, same story told. Lawbster and Funballer both able to avoid that ultimate with their own CC immunity, and on top of that, Variety, again, just getting completely taken away.
Lawbster tosses the ult right down Broadway. Faeles going to follow up suit as well. Blackjack, says Valance, as they slap number 21 on the board. And all said and done, the Titan falls down. Valance Squad splits. The number 1 team in Europe, Team Dignitas.
I love Anhur so much. Anhur gameplay is just always so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said, when you pick an Anhur, you're basically telling your hunter, you're going to fight, you're going to fight often. If you lose that fight, you're going to fight again. And if you win that fight, you're going to fight and fight a second time. Funball loves to hear those words. He says, okay, the team wins.
Funballer is all about the early aggression, and I think that he was all about this game. It was really spotlight on him. His rotations, beautiful and absolutely on point. That's exactly what they needed out of Funballer.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we really got to see that side of Funball come out. Lawbster also showing off as well. Congratulations to the Valance Squad. I think this one was one that they earned. Before we go to break, I ask you one more time. I asked in the game. Now I want to ask post-game. Can we expect more of this at a Valance Squad, or is this a flash in the dark?
I really hope so. The consistency is key, and if Valance are able to find it, this is the squad that we can expect to see.
Valance Squad and Dignitas split. Interesting way to start the day. We've got 3 more. Stay tuned for more hi-rez TV.
A secret kiss from painted lips. Yeah, we can move in. A taken bed, a sun to set, and maybe we're falling.